All right. All right. Hope you can hear me fine. I do not have all my bells and whistles today, and might happen tomorrow. But yeah, we're just doing a whole bunch of things in transition and whoop de woo and this and that and the other. So it's just, it's been difficult. Been very, very busy these last, just been busy. Just been really, really busy. Very busy weekend, but incredible weekend. Um, we had incredible things. I'll wait for a couple more people to get on before I talk about this last weekend. But I don't know if you can believe it or not, but we're on Joseph Part 79. And what that means is that we've had 79 days on talking about Joseph within our Bible study regarding the story of Joseph. And I think that's just amazing every time I think about it. Um, And tomorrow will be our last part 80. So hopefully you join us for our. It's not going to be a grand finale because that will be Wednesday where we do a recap. But tomorrow's the last part 80, and then we'll move on to eschatology. Eschatology, and what that means is the study of end times. You know, kind of a big word for a word that many people don't use, but basically means the study of end times. And I'm thinking we'll spend a couple of weeks on that, on eschatology, but I really shouldn't put a date or a time frame on that because I said we were going to spend a couple of weeks on Joseph, and you've seen how that turned out. So I'm planning for a couple of weeks on eschatology on the end times, but we'll see how it plays out. I'm seriously not anticipating it going too long. Definitely not as long as okay, good. Thank you, Johnny, that you here. Great weekend. Talk about that in a second. But hear you great. Good. I have, my AirPods on, and so it's not as good as when, I got the microphone and this and that and the other, um but I'm glad you can hear me fine. Thank you for letting me know. We are live on this channel. Today is Monday, June the 16th, 2025. The day after Father's Day. Yesterday was Father's Day, and so happy belated Father's Day to all those fathers out there. Um, Yesterday, my family took me, at least half of my family, because we got two kids out of the country, and I don't know why they decided to go out the country on Father's Day weekend. Anyways, that's a different Bible study, but they took me to Top Golf. And I think this is the third year, maybe fourth year in a row where we went to Top Golf on Father's Day. Had a wonderful time, really cool time, especially and mainly because I dominated at Top Golf. Okay. And I have a niece that is on their high school golf team, and she beat me the first round, but after that, I smoked her. Okay. But thank you. She came in second place. And okay, all right. Enough. Well, let me just say, yeah, this weekend was before I move on to Bible City. This weekend was powerful, was incredible weekend. We had baptism. I know it's crazy to do it the day before Father's Day, but we're going to be really busy coming up, even though it's really busy the last couple of weeks or whatever. But these uh next week I'll be super swamped and going into probably the mid to end July, end of July. So um, but we had baptism, so we couldn't do the baptism after. I mean, we could have, but it was just best. The best weekend to do it was this last weekend, and the best besides that, it was the day before Father's Day. But it was awesome, man. It was awesome. It's just an incredible time on Saturday because not only did we have baptism, which was awesome, but we also had a picnic following, and just beautiful weather, perfect weather, even in the sun. Because we live in part of the country it can get pretty hot in the summer. Beautiful weather, like perfect California weather. And the river wasn't that cold because we do in the river, bam, straight up river baptism. No pool, no fluffy stuff, just straight river. Someone says it looked just like the Jordan. I never been to the Jordan River, but where Jesus was baptized, someone came up to us one year, a few years back, and they go, "Oh man, that blessed me so much to see you guys doing that out there. It reminds me, it looks just like you're at the Jordan." That's what she said. But anyways, it was just awesome because we not only the river wasn't that cold. That was going to be my point because it's snow water, and so it's clear. You can see all the way to the bottom, but it's cold, and it wasn't that cold this time. So that was cool because normally some it's mostly our I should say the majority of time it's very cold, but it wasn't. It was cold, but not like it has been in the past. And so beautiful weather, everything. And then the picnic, just fellowship with church people and great food and just, it was just awesome. And Claudia says, yes, happy Father's Day. And Claudia, who was at the baptism, said, we had a wonderful time. Isn't that the truth? I mean, I don't know. I went out there and played volleyball like if I was 20 something again, and my mind knows how to do it, but my body like, no, bro, you gotta just stay in the you gotta stay on the sidelines, bro. Because and so one of our associate pastors were out there, and he's like, hey, I was getting my sermon ready for yesterday's sermon. He's like, just in case you yanked the ankle or something. That was funny, but no, I'm fine. It's all good. But just wanted to let you know how the weekend went. It was awesome. And then yesterday we had Father's Day service, and it's just really cool. Um, so we are on Joseph part 79. And so let's turn to the text, Genesis 46. And like I said, the last few Bible studies, I'm going to do a lot of reading today. I already took too much time, but I'm just going to do a lot of reading because we're going to get through this. So I'm even going to skip a little bit, just a little bit today. But chapter 46, starting with verse 1, is what we're going to read. 46, chapter 46, verse 1. And let me see if I can get to this. Okay, good. Like I said, don't have all the bells and whistles, but, you know, we have a couple of things here. But we're going to read this and read it to. Um, We're going to actually read two chapters today. So let's get to it. Then Joseph could not restrain himself before all those who stood by him. Um, this was supposed to be 46. Hold on. Let me go to 46. All right, here we go. So Israel took his journey with all that he had and came to Beersheba and offered sacrifices to the God of his father Isaac. And God spoke to Israel. So this is Jacob or Israel finding out that his son's alive, that he's in Egypt, that he's the man in Egypt, right? So he's just finding this out. So he went and did some sacrificing in Beersheba and to the God of his father Isaac, Abraham, Isaac, and then Jacob. Then God spoke to Israel in visions of the night. And so God spoke to him that night, right? You know what? Let me see if this is the right. I changed this, but uh, yeah. Okay. So God spoke to him that night. Right. I mean, I think that's so cool that God speaks to him because he's about to go on a major journey. He's about to go to Egypt. All right. Then God spoke to him and said, Jacob, Jacob. And he said, here I am. So he said, I am God, the God of your father. Do not fear. Go down to Egypt, for I will make you a great nation there. So this is God affirming to him that he needs to go to Egypt and for him to not be afraid. because I think that's important for him to have that assurance, to have that peace that he needs to make this move. I love that God had spoken to him that way, because a lot of times we make, I'm going to try not to put so much commentary in this, but so many times I've seen people in our church families make decisions, like the father, the parents, or whatever, make decisions that are just haphazard, that are like, okay, well, let's go move to a different city, or let's accept another job, or let's go to another church, or whatever, haphazardly, and not seek God, and not feel like um that they're being led of the Lord. And so this is really important here, that God has given him this peace, giving Jacob this peace and this understanding that, hey man, go down. I've called you to go down there. I've called you. This is of me for you to go down to Egypt, right? Because I say that, I kind of emphasize that, what I just said, because a lot of times I've seen families just get up and leave and not feel or not seek God for the direction that they should be going in. They just make a decision because they can make more money, or they're tired of their city, or what, I don't know, whatever. It's like, no, we need, especially big life decisions, we need to seek the Lord, and have him give us peace and understanding, and to give us clear direction that this is what we're supposed to do, right? And I'm not talking about, like, don't get weird, like, oh, I better pray, does God want me to go to Burger King or Jack in the Box? I mean, come on. You know what I mean? I mean, if you want to pray about that, fine, but come on. Like, no, no, it's like, here's the other thing. Like, I'll ask somebody super spiritual, somebody, I'll say, hey, bro, we're having this and that and the other. It's Bible study next Tuesday night. And, man, I'd love for you to join us. And then they say, well, that sounds cool, but let me pray about it. You know what I mean? It's like, come on, bro. Like, anyways, that's a different Bible study. But the Lord's telling Jacob that he'll go down with him, and that it's for him to not fear, right? Because he's going to make him a great nation. He says, verse 4, I will go down with you. So God is saying, hey, bro, I'm with you. I'll go down with you to Egypt, and I will also surely bring you up again, and Joseph will put his hand on your eyes. Wow. You know what I mean? What an incredible blessing for him at that moment. Thank you, William Lathrop. Amen. Appreciate it. Appreciate the word too. Then Jacob arose from Beersheba, and the sons of Israel carried their father Jacob. They carried him. Well, they didn't physically carry him, but they put him in the wagon, if you will, in the cart that the Pharaoh had sent. I think it says that right here. Their little ones and their wives in the carts, which Pharaoh had sent to carry him. And so it's cool because he had like a mode of transportation to Egypt. It's far. It takes 2 weeks on a regular trip. And so they put him in a car. They put the kids in a cart, right? That they put them in the commuter van. You know what I mean? Because it's far. And so I love it. And their wives and the kids. So they took their livestock and their goods, which they had acquired in the land of Canaan, and went to Egypt. So they took some of the goods they had. They didn't leave everything behind, but they probably did. They probably were charity. Hey, bro, you could take this. I'm not going to use it anymore. You know what I mean? Or we're hooked up over there in Egypt. So bam, here you go, bro. Maybe their neighbors or whatever. So Jacob, they went from Canaan to Egypt. Jacob and all his descendants with him. I love it, man. The caravan, baby. Let's all go. All of us. Let's go. Vominos, man. Let's all go. Right? Everybody. His sons and I'm taking too long. Uh, his sons and his sons' sons, his daughters and his sons' daughters, and all descendants he brought with him to Egypt. All of them. Now these were the names of the children of Israel, and then I'm going to skip this part. because it's just a lot. It goes through. I will highlight. Uh, I will highlight 19. The sons of Rachel, Jacob's wives, for Joseph and Benjamin. That's because who the story's about. And to Joseph in the land of Egypt were born Manasseh and Ephraim. So they're already there. And so let's jump down to the end of verse 27. Um, all the persons of the house of Jacob who went to Egypt were 70. So there was 70. That's a pretty big group. 70 folk went from Canaan to Egypt, or to Goshen, actually. And we'll read about that in a second. But that's a lot. That's a big group, right? It's a lot of people. Plus their animals and perhaps even their servants. Probably would have to do that a little bit more of a study. I'm sure they had some servants. Um, but there was probably more than 70 total plus the animals and whatnot. And whatever they had. Verse 28. Then he sent Judah before him to Joseph. So Judah, they said, Judah, you go first, so that Judah could kind of find Joseph and just kind of lay everything out, to point out before him the way to Goshen, right? So that he could point the way of where they're going to go. And they came to the land of Goshen. So Joseph made ready his chariot and went to Goshen to meet his father. So here we go. Joseph is going to see Jacob for the first time since Jacob thought he was dead, since he thought he was eaten by a ferocious animal. And so he's going to go meet his father, and he presented himself to him and fell on his neck and wept on his neck a good while. Talked about a little bit about how Joseph felt about his dad yesterday, our Father's Day. And Israel said to Joseph, so this is the way the father felt. Okay, because I said that the father, Joseph loved his father. Father had favor on Joseph. But here's how Jacob, and here's how Jacob felt about Joseph. Remember, Jacob and Israel are the same person. Israel said to Joseph, now let me die. So the dad is telling him, I could die now since I've seen your face because you are still alive. He said, let me die now. You know what I mean? Like, I'm ready to die because I've seen your face. And then Joseph said to his brothers and to his father's household, I will go up and tell Pharaoh and say to him, my brothers and those of my father's house who in the land of Canaan have come to me, and the men are shepherds, for their occupation has been to feed livestock, and they have brought their flocks and their herds all the way they have. So it shall be when Pharaoh calls you and says, what is your occupation? What is it that you guys do for a living? That you shall say, your servant's occupation has been with livestock. Now I'm kind of like pausing, hesitating, because what's the big deal? You know, what if they were blacksmith, or what if they were, I don't know, loggers, or what if they just did something else? What if they were stored? They were merchants, right? No, they were. Joseph was going to make it clear to the Pharaoh, and he wanted his family to make clear to the Pharaoh that they were shepherds. From our youth even till now, both we and our fathers, that you may dwell in the land of Goshen. For every shepherd, this is why I pause. For every shepherd, the shepherds are an abomination to the Egyptians. Again, we've seen this cultural divide, this stereotyping, this this kind of attitude, this kind of prejudice several times in this story. And just from them being shepherds, this was seen as gross. I don't know why, I don't know how, but to the Egyptians, that was like beneath them. It was an abomination. Like it's not even what you today may think of an occupation that's beneath you. It's more than beneath you, because because of the word, the term they use, abomination. First, let's jump to chapter 47. Then Joseph went and told Pharaoh and said, "My father and my brothers, their flocks and their herds, and all they possess have come to the land of Canaan. And indeed, they're in the land of Goshen." Now, remember, Pharaoh already heard that he's seen his family and whoop de woo. So is, Pharaoh was aware of what was going on. Hey, Patty, thank you for joining us. William has a question. They were shepherds. Yes, they were. Yeah, they were shepherds. I mean, and it doesn't say all, maybe they weren't all shepherds, but yeah, I mean, Abraham was a shepherd, or he took care of cattle, right? Sheep and lambs and stuff like that. And so yeah, they come from that line, but I'm not, I don't know if all of them are shepherds, maybe not. I don't know. I didn't read any of that in the story, whether every single one of them were shepherds. I doubt it. Maybe one was a business guy, right? More of a merchant. Maybe someone was a fisherman, or not necessarily fisherman. They weren't close to, oh yeah, they were close to the sea. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know, William, to answer your question. But I just know that their family traditionally were shepherds, just like David, right? All the way down to David. My father and my brothers, their flocks and their herds, and all they possess have come from the land of Canaan. Indeed, they are in the land of Goshen, and he took 5 men from among his brothers and presented them to Pharaoh. So he took 5 of them and he said, "These are my brothers." Why only five? I don't know. But Pharaoh said to his brothers, "What is your occupation?" Remember, he already told them, "Step that up. Your servants are shepherds, both we and our fathers." And they said to Pharaoh that they were shepherds. "We have come to dwell in the land because your servants have no pasture for their flocks. For the famine is severe in the land of Canaan. Now, therefore, please let your servants dwell in the land of Goshen." So they're asking to go to Goshen. I'm sure there was a reason. I'm sure Joseph had, you know, availability. It was a great land to feed their flock and woo woo woo, right? There must have been a good water way there. Then Pharaoh spoke to Joseph, saying, "Your father and your brothers have come to you. The land of Egypt is before you. Have your father and brothers dwell in the best of the land. Let them dwell in the land of Goshen." So he's like, "You guys can live wherever you want in Egypt. I got your back. Where, I don't care where it is, you know, within reason. I mean, I'm not where he lives, right? But wherever you guys want to dwell, remember they had 70 plus people, plus cattle and animals. So go ahead and go wherever. And if you want to go in the Goshen, go for it. And if you know any competent men among them, then make them chief herdsmen over my livestock." So he's hiring them, right? He offered him a job. Hey, and by the way, if you know some people that could take care of my stock, boom, there you go. Then Joseph brought in his father Jacob and set him before Pharaoh, and Jacob blessed Pharaoh. Pharaoh said to Jacob, "How old are you?" Right? I mean, I think it's crazy that he brought him to the leader, and then he blesses the leader, right, the Pharaoh. So Joseph brought his father, which blessed Pharaoh. And Jacob said to Pharaoh, "These days of the years of my pilgrimage are 130 years." So he's telling him how old he is. He's 130 years old at this time. "A few and evil have been the days of the years of my life, and they have not attained the days of the years of the life of my fathers in the days of the pilgrimage." So Jacob blessed Pharaoh and went out before Pharaoh. So he blessed him. Um, He blessed Pharaoh where he was, and Goshen, depending on where Pharaoh was, but some of the commentators I've seen it's about 20 miles roughly, in that range. I mean, some commentators say it could have been up to 100 miles, depending. I don't could have been up to 100 miles, but probably more like 20 miles from where Goshen was to where Pharaoh was. And I say that because 20 miles is no joke. That's then now it's no big deal. People run that in a marathon, but then I mean that was unpaved roads. I mean, just no mode of transportation other than maybe a donkey or something like that or camel. And so he went there, blessed them. I mean, he was in and out. But verse 11, and Joseph situated his father and his brothers. I got to hurry. And gave them possession of the land of Egypt and the best land in the land of Ramses, as Pharaoh had commanded. And Joseph provided his father, his brothers, and all his father's household with bread according to the number of their families. So they were taken care of. Verse 13. Now there was no bread in all the land, for the famine was very severe, so that the land of Egypt and the land of Canaan languished because of the famine. And Joseph gathered up all. I mean, check this out. So the famine was so crazy that Joseph gathered all the money that was found in the land. So all the coins, the silver coins, gold coins, whatever they had that they exchanged with money. Joseph got all the money that was found in the land of Egypt and the land of Canaan. Basically, it's like, their dollar, their money became worthless. Like they say, the American dollar will one day become worthless. But we've seen that in modern times where countries, their monetary system will just collapse and they will not have their money would become worthless. They'll bring wheelbarrows of money to get a loaf of bread. I mean, that's happened recently. So they got all the money, right, Joseph, because people were needing to buy grain. So all the money was collected, and so when the money failed in the land of Egypt and the land of Canaan, all the Egyptians came to Joseph and said, "Give us bread, for why should we die in your presence? For the money has failed." Then Joseph said, "All right, you don't have money. Give me your livestock." Crazy. He's asking for the livestock. You want bread? You got to hand it over, bro. Hand over those cows, those sheep, those all that stuff you have. Hand it over. And I will give you bread for your livestock if the money is gone. And so they brought their livestock to Joseph, and Joseph gave them bread in exchange for the horses, the flocks, the cattle, the herds, and the donkeys. Thus he fed them with bread in exchange for all their livestock that year. Verse 18, when the year had ended, they came to him the next year. So now this is this next year. And um, he said that we will not hide from my Lord that our money is gone. My Lord has our herds and livestock. That's gone. There's nothing left in the sight of my Lord but our bodies and our lands. We have our bodies and we have our lands. That's all we have. Why should we die before his eyes? But both we and our land buy us and the land for bread, and we and our land will be servants of Pharaoh. Give us seed that we may live and not die, that the land may be not be desolate. So they're basically offered themselves to slavery and all their land. And Joseph bought all the land of Egypt from Pharaoh, for every man of Egypt sold his field, because the famine was severe upon them. So the land became Pharaoh's, and all the people he moved them into the cities from one end to the borders to the Egypt to the other end. All the land of the priests did not buy, for the priests had rations allotted to them by Pharaoh, and they ate all the rations which Pharaoh gave them. Therefore they did not sell the lands. And Joseph said to the people, "Indeed, I bought you and your land for this day, Pharaoh. Look, here is the seed for you, and you shall sow the land, and it shall come." So he's given them to replant. And he said, come to pass in the harvest that you shall give one fifth to the Pharaoh, 20%, 20%. Four fifths shall be your own as the seed of the field of your food for those of your household, and all the food for your little ones. So they said, "You have saved our lives. Let us find favor in your sight of my Lord, and we will be your Pharaoh's servants." And Joseph made a law that the land of Egypt to this day, that Pharaoh should have one fifth, 20%, except for the land of the priests, only which did not become the Pharaoh. So Israel dwelt in the land of Egypt, in the country of Goshen, and they had possessions there and grew and multiplied exceedingly. And Jacob lived in the land of Egypt 17 years. 17 years after he blessed Pharaoh, right? So the length of Jacob's life was 147 years. When the time drew near that Israel must die, he called his son Joseph and said to him, "Now, if I found favor in your sight, please put your hand under my thigh and deal kindly and truly with me. Please do not bury me in Egypt, but let me lie with my fathers, and you shall carry me out of Egypt and bury me with the burial place." And he said, "I will do as you have said." Then he said, "Swear to me," and swear to him. So Israel bowed before him on the head of the bed. I told you I was going to read a lot. Tomorrow might be the same thing. I'm out of time. Thank you, guys. We'll see you tomorrow.